Hey guys, welcome to a dual commentary. For the first time I have Cholera SC alongside me. He's been doing some classic games actually. Man, like Holy Wars, everything. So go check out his account at Cholera SC, and he's one of the new commentators hopping on board, and I'm trying to get them alongside. He's fantastic, I think. I think he's going to surpass us. Me and, well, Moletrap may not agree on that, but I certainly think so. I think these, both him and Vol, I think are two of the best new commentators. And so I think if you guys want to check it out, go there. And let me get to the actual game at hand before I get too carried away here. So we got C starting in the upper left-hand corner in yellow. Bottom right-hand corner we have Daezang in red. And this is going to be an awesome rematch. So what do you think? So really quick, Caller, what do you think about this match in front of us right here?
Hi, Diggity. Well, actually, I just did Air Force Ace versus NBC Hero today in a cast, and C and Daezang just played on Andromeda, and against my expectations, I think everyone's expectations, Daezang actually took the game by using an excellent, absolutely excellent Reaver play. C pushed out with tanks and vultures towards the middle of the game about 10 minutes in, and with excellent Reaver drops, he managed to kill all of C's force, and from then on it was just out macroing C. So I actually think this is going to be a really close one, even though originally I would think C would definitely have an advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because you mentioned that on Andromeda with the Reavers. I feel like this is a Hwarangdo, by the way. You got one gas, and then taking that second gas can be extremely difficult. Wow, that's some awesome turret art.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Beautiful. You can see the guy in it. I always wondered about how brave that guy in that turret must be, just getting sick and dizzy constantly. Anyway, but there's only one gas. Exactly. Why doesn't he shoot the ground? Anyway,
yeah, right.
You know, if I saw Zerglings down there, I swear I would be freaking out. You know, I'd be like, pull missiles out of the turret, throw them down there.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, but there's only one gas here, and I feel like that affects Protoss a lot more than it does Terran. I know some people disagree. Zerg, we've seen how Zerg have kind of adapted this map. I haven't seen how Protoss versus Terran's really operated on this map with that one gas. But we know about the two-factory push, and I'm curious, actually, I've seen one other game, Terran versus Protoss. I'm curious if we're going to see C do essentially what Frozean did. What Frozean decided to do is go kind of a barrack build and have kind of that Marine supplementing the forces. And my question is how can Daezang really compete? A lot of Protoss units require that higher tech. You need Dragoons to really deal, and there's just not a lot of gas to get it done.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We do see Cybernetics Core going up here, and in that game actually it was Frozean versus Anytime. Anytime just didn't get his tech up early enough, and you really need Reavers or High Templar, like you said, to get to deal with Medic Marine properly. It's not hard to do, but Frozean did come up with quite an innovative build, I feel, in that game, going for Medic Marine and tanks. I do think, I agree with you completely about this being favored for Terran. I actually do think it's favored TVP also for Terran, because Terran can really sit back with one base and then get tanks and just bring them to that ridge overlooking the natural expansion of the Protoss player and just shell them constantly. And really the Protoss player needs to get the gas to get shuttles and to get High Templar just to be able to deal with that. I feel like, yeah, this is definitely going to be in the favor of C here, I have to say, from the map alone.
I'm curious how much we're going to be seeing kind of actually early Forge play, because honestly, to deal with quick Medic Marine pushes, and maybe, wow, seeing robotics facility off the bat.
That is sweet.
You can see that is insane. Usually you'll see at least a Dragoon before the robotics facility, so no range upgrade, going straight robotics facility. So are we gonna? The question is he just gonna go straight Reaver, or is he really kind of after that observatory? He needs to make sure that he has a spot on what C's doing here. Maybe thinking about doing a two-factory push because he's got that first factory up. Honestly, I don't know what would be stopping him from doing two-factory push, but blocking that ramp with that Zealot initially, sending out the probe scout, and it actually almost looks like C is setting up to take his secondary as well. We'll see if he puts down the machine shop. Yeah, it looks like he's thinking about taking a secondary, even though that would be a mineral only secondary. But yeah, this is interesting. What do you think he's going to do with that robotics facility down there?
I think I actually mentioned in my commentary on Daezang versus C the last game that his strongest play is his Reaver play, and his robotics support bay is going up here, so he's going straight to Reavers here, Diggity. Yeah, I do think his strongest play is his Reavers. He managed to do very well in past games I've seen where I've cast Air Force Ace, kills a lot of SCVs with them, manages to stop the push. I think it's quite effective here, especially if C decides to go for his natural expansion, which it looks like he was, because he was building his command center. I think this Reaver harass might actually be quite successful for Daezang. Of course, Daezang will have to do a lot of damage, or else if he fails in this, I think it will be C's signal to move out and to attack, and also he's going to be economically behind. So what do you think? What do you think are Daezang's chances against a player who's so well prepared like C? C, of course, being such a sort of a conservative player, but just very well prepared, I feel, for dealing with attacks.
I think what it's going to come down to, simply because he put that robotics facility out so quickly, is as long as Daezang kills that SCV scout, as long as he keeps him away from that robotics facility, which he's doing very effectively right now, I don't see any way C is that he would just expect this coming. It looks like he did kill that SCV scout. As long as he can keep that SCV scout out on the ground, he sees that Nexus as well. And he's got to be thinking, wow, there was like a 14 Nexus or a fast expand or something like that down the line. Actually, the Nexus would be up in that case, but I can't see him seeing the Reavers coming straight off the line, and so I don't think he's even going to have turrets in play, so I don't know how he's going to have this spotted out. Sending out a second scout now, but Daezang being very careful with that scout. Wow, and he's got the observatory, actually putting down the observatory alongside immediately after, so I'm kind of curious on that maneuver.
I think the engineering bay is going up right now for C right now, so he might have a couple turrets up in time.
So it looks like a single Reaver out. Maybe that Reaver was just a defensive maneuver just to deal with Medic Marine maybe putting out in the field, because, or I guess he wanted to get enough gas and immediately put the observatory down as soon as that Reaver was finished. Now, as you can see, he's got that secondary up. I'm curious if we're going to see a shuttle here. I definitely think Daezang's strong play is in a shuttles. I think he was playing, was it Kanata? I don't remember who was playing, but he was just all over the map with the Reavers. I think if he's going to win or lose it, he is going to do it through his Reaver play.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I think I'm actually surprised he didn't go for a shuttle first. He went for an observer. What do you think about that play?
I think he's just a little bit, I think when he saw that SCV scout and he saw that secondary up, he was a little bit worried about that factory push. He hasn't set up a scout yet. Keep that in mind. He has not yet gotten a scout up into C's base, and so he's basically playing in the dark at this point. I think a little bit panicked about that.
Oh, this might be disastrous if he sees that. He's trying to run away his Reaver here up the ramp. You see that, Diggity? Oh, but it's going to fire.
Get out in time.
Yeah. So that's actually quite critical, because C now will have seen the Reaver and have much more of an idea of what's going on here.
Almost losing his observer there out in the field as well. Oh, he is going to lose that observer. That's harsh. So not only is he in the dark because he didn't scout early, additionally, as you can see, turrets going down the background for C. C's going to be well prepared for any sort of Reaver harass coming his direction. He's already got siege tanks, and it looks like Daezang is actually playing very conservative, now sending out that shuttle with the Reaver, but I think it's just too late. The turrets are already in place. C's already got a large force to deal with it, and Daezang in the meantime just trying to get up those pylons so he doesn't have to worry about a vulture harass. The one thing in his favor is kind of with that setup, he doesn't have to worry about vultures as much, but he really needs to worry about tanks, even with that single gas.
Absolutely.
Honestly, on a map like this, I don't think he needs to worry about vultures as much. He needs to focus on his tanks and doing a nice job of weaving through those turrets, looking for a target. The question is he going to find it? Yeah, so it looks like he went for speed upgrade straight off.
Yeah. Oh, but C's prepared here. Yeah, this is not going to end well here. Yeah, his Reaver dies. Yeah. Oh, not dead yet actually. Now it dies.
Took out 2 tanks, which is at least something, and like, you know, every tank is precious, especially when you only have 1 gas. But as you can see, yeah, the shuttle, it looks like he was going all in shuttles. He was going to go with that speed upgrade. Wow, being really ballsy right here, and while C's kind of in a defensive stance, I think he would have been better off doing this if he had kept that shuttle up, but right now he's putting down 2 gateways and getting that 3rd expansion up, which is extremely dangerous. If C decides to push right now, I don't think Daezang's going to be able to hold it off. But in the meantime, C is playing rather defensively. He might be expecting a second shuttle after. No, now he's starting to push out. Wow, I don't know if Daezang can really hold this. But no, he's just claiming territory in front of his base, it looks like, to set up the 3rd expansion. Daezang might actually be in a pretty good position here. He is behind economically, simply because when you have, well, actually I'm not sure how that works out, because usually it's kind of based on gas. So it's not as far back behind economically as you would usually be, because it's kind of like taking a mineral only for Terran. But still in a dangerous position. If you can get that 2nd gas before C, though, it'll be huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Although I think still though he is a little bit behind. I think just in his unit count. If you look at the lower right of the screen, he's at even food count with C. And as a Protoss player, you really want to be a bit ahead of the Terran player in the mid game. I just saw the 2nd gateway going up, I think, inside his base, so he's going to be behind in terms of macroing up units also. And with a careful player like C, you were seeing C putting down mines inside of his base. That's one thing I like about C. He's just so careful. He's just absolutely impeccable in trying to make the attacks come down in his favor. It looks like a couple of vultures coming in for C here and getting inside the base here. Yeah, that's just poor play by Daezang here, allowing these 2 vultures in, and they can do a lot of damage with C's micro. Looks like C actually bringing them to the north a little bit. Daezang, meanwhile, trying to go in for another harass here, while C is preoccupied killing off a couple of probes, and C doing a great job here killing off probes. And it looks like Daezang's actually managed to find a hole here in the defenses, because the 2 tanks were killed there, and C didn't replace them. Nice Scarab shot there, killed about 5 SCVs, another one, total about 10 SCVs I'd say are dead. Not bad work at all. But I have to say though, yeah, I was just going to say, I'd still say he's a little bit behind, but he's definitely fighting his way in. What were you going to say, Diggity?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a mistake there. You could see maybe it's just a lack of practice. He had those two pylons and he did not have them pushed up on the gap. I don't think you can build it on the gap, but he didn't have that gap closed. Those vultures just sneaking right by. He was basically counting on C not to sneak those vultures through, but in the meantime doing a good job of equalizing the damage. Managed to take out 8 SCVs, which is essentially what his losses were on the vulture side, it looked like. Taking a nice opportunity there. In the meantime, he's got that additional expansion up, starting to get cannons down, but as you can see, C starting to bear down. He's got a nice thing about vultures is vultures kind of act like Corsairs of the ground for Terran players. As you can run up, you can get that spotting information. And there's actually another side problem is I really feel like Protoss players get hurt with the lack of gas, additionally in observers, and the vultures are actually, now that I think about it, very strong in this map, simply because you can't just spend your gas on extra observers around the map, so you need to really worry about mines out in the field. And as you can see, Daezang starting to bottle up. He's trying to deal with that drop. Looked like he kind of invested heavily into that shuttle for his defense and for the attack, but I don't think that's going to pay off. He's just a little bit far behind on units, and I think this attack right now coming down from C might break him, or at least it's going to contain him. It looks like C is setting up the contain there, but that is a huge amount of tanks, a huge amount of vultures.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's doing sort of a slow push here, and it looks like an attack is coming in. I think a couple of miracle drops are what's necessary from Daezang here to get this game back even. But great Reaver shot going off there. I think that was 2 Reaver shots going off the tanks. He's managed to kill most of the tanks here, and this is what he did in the last game against C. Actually, if you watch it, he used Reaver drops alone basically to. I was calling the game basically for C at the point when he dropped his Reavers behind the tanks in last game, and this time he's done it again with what I thought was a much smaller force. He managed to defeat C's force mainly because of the Reaver drops. I think those are just a very impressive use of Reavers. I'm surprised that more players don't use them to deal with the dreaded Terran push, so to speak.
Yeah, that was just absolutely insane. He ended up losing both shuttles as well as the 2 Reavers inside, so it wasn't a complete victory, but still, he stopped with a much smaller force. He was essentially even on supply count. Usually you want to be, what is it, like 20%? You basically want to be usually about 30 psi ahead, and he was about even and still somehow stopped that. And as you can see, bringing up another shuttle. I think this early shuttle, even though it was kind of spotted out, is really paying off for him. The question is I think, can he weather the storm and secure an additional expansion? Looks like C hasn't taken a base in that upper right-hand corner, instead dedicating an attack force, and more it looks like drops coming off, but it looks like, wow, C's got a lot of mines out there, and I'm not sure if there's an observer alongside to deal with it. So it looks like he's setting up for an additional expansion. I still feel like C is just pinning him in, and I don't know if Daezang is really in a good position to break this.
Yeah, absolutely, Diggity. I would agree. He's definitely not out of the woods yet. And what I'd like to see from C here is that he's actually bringing his tanks up to help with his attack. That might seem obvious, but a lot of players recently have been just focusing on vulture-only micro, I feel like, just from watching Nada a few weeks ago, or watching more just Terran players when they're playing TVP. They're just keeping their tanks in their base and just sending out mass swarms of vultures to do harassment damage. And while I think that's cost-effective in some ways, I think in the end it just doesn't work out because you just don't have those tanks to really fight